Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willowband Journals, and this is a Journal With Me episode working in my Daphne's Diary list journal. So this is for a free list journal course that is on my channel, so you can join in anytime or pick it up where you left off anytime as well. So I'm going to be doing 2 prompts today. The first one here is life-changing events, and just a really simple page. I'm literally just going to write my list onto this page, adding these labels, which are a freebie that go along with this course. They're available over on my Patreon. And yeah, I'm just going to write over the top of this page that has these flowers in the background, and then I do think I add a piece to the right hand side page, but yeah, just a simple list, because I think the list itself is very life-changing events. It's a huge prompt. So I'm just going to read them out in order and talk about how they changed me. And also the next prompt you'll see later on is kind of a companion prompt to this one. It's challenges. So a lot of these life-changing events were my biggest challenges in life as well. Okay, so the first one that I put down here was a charity walk I did from Sydney to Melbourne back in 2011, and it was a walk that we did over 6 weeks, averaging 30k a day. We had a rest day every Wednesday, and we were raising money for the Dalit children in India. And along the way, we would speak in homes and churches. We even spoke at a school and life groups and different things about the Dalits and about why we were doing the walk. And it was just absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's something that I had never done before, and don't think I ever will do ever again. And it was just like this crazy thing. My friend, she came up with the idea, and if she told me about the idea, and at the time it just so happened that things made it so that I was so on board. Before that, I would have been like, no way, that's great, go ahead and do that, but that's not for me, because I'm not a walker. I don't like walking. But I was really inspired by Shane Crawford's run that he did. If you don't know who Shane Crawford is, he was a footballer, and he was one of the hosts on my favourite TV show at the time, which was the AFL Footy Show. And the way that his run helped people, and people would come up to him on the street and cry in his arms and tell them his story, and the way it impacted one of his co-hosts, and he was tearing up and just so proud of him for what he did. I just thought, wow, the emotion and the way it affected him. He was emotional when he came in the studio finishing up his run, and how it affected him. It really moved me, and I thought, I want to do something like that. I want to do something that affects people's lives and affects me. And he had this video diary episode one time talking about how he was struggling doing the run, and I'd never seen him like that before. He always presented as this happy-go-lucky presenter, but when he was on this run, he was just saying it's really hard, and he was struggling, and almost like he didn't want to do it, but because of the people who came out to tell him their stories, he kept doing it for them and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I want to do something. I want to do something that's hard for me. I want to do something that's a challenge for me, so that I get to see that impact of how it impacts other people's lives around me and how it impacts me. And so I wanted to do something that I didn't enjoy as a way to challenge me. And I thought, walking, I can't stand walking. So I did this, and I had to train for like an entire year, doing 5-6 hour walks every week for a year, kind of thing, to train for this walk. And it wasn't just a 6-week walk that was a sacrifice. It was the entire year that was a sacrifice. We had to pour in all of our time and money into this walk, and it was a lot. It was a lot, but it definitely was challenging. I got an allergic reaction to sports tape, and That was my least fun part of the walk. My feet felt like they were on fire. I wanted to scratch the skin off, and every step I took was just like, this is the worst. This is the worst. Ow, ow, ow. Itchy, itchy, itchy. I hate this. I hate this. It was just not fun. And by the last 2 weeks of the walk, I was just in pain, like all the time. Like my legs and my muscles and my feet were so sore. But anyway, I got through it. My feet were totally mangled by the end of it. But it was so good. Meeting all the people and just seeing how people were so kind and generous and gracious, and we met some amazing people. You know, we were in the trust of strangers. Like, we had to just trust strangers. We were staying with different people each night, and it was just an exercise in trust and just seeing how wonderful and beautiful people were, and it just restored my faith in humanity, or affirmed my faith in humanity. And I just saw God show up that whole trip, and God taught me so much through that whole walk, and I wrote a book about it. It's available on Amazon. There's a link down below in the description box of any of my videos. It's an ebook, and it tracks my entire journey and how the walk came to be, and how God taught me through that walk and changed my life through it, which led me to realizing I could do things that I never thought I could do. Before then, I was very reserved, very cautious. I didn't try new things. I didn't step out of the box. But after the walk, my life changed. I started doing things I always wanted to do but was too scared to do, like going to adult beginner ballet classes. And look where that's led me. And moving interstate. You know, I never would have done these things without the walk. And starting studying writing. So it was amazing. It was seriously amazing. And then the next one was... I'm going to have to loop this video a few times, I think. The next one was Beach Mission. I did 12 years of Beach Mission at Macrae SUFM, and this was from about when I was 21 to 33, around those ages. So very formative years. You know, when you're in your 20s, you're just starting to become your own person and figure out what life is about. So it was very formative for me. And Beach Mission is where a bunch of people from different areas come together, different backgrounds, different perspectives, come together to run a holiday program, sharing about God at the beach for about 10 days over the January holidays. And we camp with the campers, and we become one of them, and it's just so fun. I learned so much about God and faith and mission and heaven and what it is to live in community. I loved that community vibe. You know, you're living with 20 other people, you're eating with them, you're sleeping in the same tents with them, you are working with them, you are resting with them, you're playing with them, you are studying the Bible with them, you are doing everything together. And you know, it's intense, there's challenges along the way, but it's just so beautiful, and you become a family, and you become one body, and you become just part of something that is the most beautiful thing I've ever been part of, really, where Beach Mission to me was heaven on earth. But I actually wanted to fake a sickie before my first one because I was terrified of what we were asked to do. We were asked to be leaders, to run games, and to sing, and to do dramas, and to hold a microphone, and to, you know, interact with children and families and teenagers and parents and adults and strangers and teammates. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. You know, going into it 21 years old, I don't even know who I am yet. I'm trying to work out who I am and what life is about, and I'm terrified of all these things that I've never done before, and living in community with 20 other people, like how am I supposed to do that? And and yeah, it was a learning curve. I was so stressed that first year, but I loved every minute of it, with the stress of it all. And you know, my first few missions, I was a bit uncomfortable, not knowing what to do, but by, you know, a few missions in, I was just loving all of it, loving it all, and I grew so much from it. I went from someone terrified of acting to someone who wrote my own plays and directed and acted in them. It's life-changing. I found my confidence through Beach Mission, and I probably wouldn't have started a YouTube channel without Beach Mission, because I never used to share. I never told my stories. I bottled everything up, I didn't let myself be seen, but it was through 12 years of Beach Mission that I saw the importance of storytelling and sharing and letting yourself be seen for what it can give to others. And when I finished Beach Mission, I only finished it because I felt God tell me it was time to end it and start something new. And he wouldn't tell me what the new thing was because he wanted me to take a leap of faith and close the door to something that I loved. I loved Beach Mission. And I felt him say, close the door to Beach Mission and then I'll open you a new door. And literally the year that I ended Beach Mission was the year I discovered junk journals. And I felt all along that God was telling me, use everything that you've learned from Beach Mission and apply it to this new area in life. And YouTube became the new area to share my stories and to share about things that are important to me and happening in my life in order to help others, with my mental health journey and stories of faith and stories about knowing who you are and self-discovery, and even with my journal courses, going further with that journey, going deeper with that. It all, had it start with Beach Mission and learning about stories and finding my confidence. So the next one is moving to Bowen. So I always thought that I would live in the same neighbourhood for all my life. I had no desire to travel, but in 2014 I moved from Melbourne to this small country town. I moved from the trees to the beaches, and I'm a summer girl. I love beaches, so this became my happy place. It was only supposed to be for a year while I studied a Master of Writing and Literature. My version of a gap year is to study, and I thought I would live my dream year 1 year out of my life and just write and spend my time at beaches for a year. But within a month, I knew I couldn't go back to Melbourne because this weather was too nice, the beaches were too beautiful, the lifestyle here was just so laid back and more like a holiday lifestyle. So I stayed in Bowen and, had a whole journey here. One big part of that journey was my ballet dreams came true here. I don't think they would have come true in Melbourne, but in Bowen, this smaller town had this amazing dance school that let me dance with their high school students. And we got so many opportunities. I got to perform on stage in concerts doing ballet dances. I got to wear a tutu and tiara. I got to do a masterclass or a workshop with two ballet students from the Queensland Ballet. It's amazing. I got to teach ballet, and I am now on point shoes. So my ballet dreams have all come true in Bowen. The next one is Willowbound Journals and discovering Johanna Clough and Amity Bloom through YouTube. That was a life-changing night for me back in August 2017 when it started my whole business and me creating for a living, which I never knew would ever happen when I first watched those videos. It was just me finding my home, me finding the thing that I've always been looking for that I didn't know was out there, and it's combining art journaling with mixed media and jewelry making and photography and scrapbooking and card making and papercraft and journaling and writing and memory keeping and ephemera keeping. It all just kind of came together, and I love it. It's what I've always done my whole life, but to combine it in all these ways that I had no idea you could in a journal, I love it so much. And so Willowbound Journals has become my full-time job, and it's led to meeting so many wonderful friends from around the world and led to me fulfilling another dream of teaching journaling courses. So it's just been absolutely amazing. Another one was studying creative writing. So creative writing is like my biggest dream. Out of anything, writing is my biggest passion. And so I want to write books, I want to publish more books. And I remember how this all happened. So from the age of 8, just going to loop this video again, I always wanted to be a zoologist. I wanted to work with animals. I'm an animal lover. And I worked all my high school years, all my primary school years, high school years, and uni years achieving that dream to become a zoologist. And I got the qualification. I studied environmental science, majored in zoology, and did honours in animal behaviour. But as soon as I got my certificate, I realised that's not actually what I want to do. As much as I love animals, my biggest passion is writing. And that was a huge learning curve. I had a quarter-life crisis at the age of like 26 because I'm like, what do I do now? This whole time I've been telling everyone I want to work with animals, but actually my heart is, it wants to create, it wants to write. That's where my heart is, with the creative jobs. And eventually I had to go on a whole journey. And one thing that helped me, because I was too scared to change, I was too scared to tell people that I actually wanted to write. But what happened was, I was talking to this guy and he was saying that he was studying a creative writing course at Deakin, and I couldn't remember anything else he said because it just felt like a movie moment where a light bulb went off and the camera was zooming in my face and time stood still, because in my head I heard this line, there is nothing else I want to do more. And so that clued me in, and I ended up studying the same course that he did at Deakin Uni, called, not the exact same course, but a similar one, a Master of Writing in Literature. And that course was life-changing. It told me, yes, this is what I want to do, and it showed me that I'm a life writer, because up until that point I thought I wanted to do all types of writing: poetry, children's writing, young adult, script writing, everything, fiction, non-fiction. But doing that course taught me I am a life writer. I write memoirs. That's what I do. So that was just amazing, and I want to write memoirs for the rest of my life. The next one is a book called Blue Like Jazz. When I found this book by Donald Miller, it changed my life because he showed me the types of books I want to write. He is a memoir writer, and Blue Like Jazz was the first time I read a book that felt like I was reading a book for me. It felt like I could have written it, because all of the words were words that I had thought, and I was like, oh my gosh, someone else thinks like me. Someone else knows what I think. It was just crazy. And I was like, I want to write books like that for other people, where they can pick up my book that I write and they feel like this book was made especially for them. The next one is Depression and Anxiety. That journey back in 2015 and 16 changed my life, because it helped me to understand what depression and anxiety is, helps me to give compassion and empathy to others who go through it. And now it's close to my heart. It's something that I always want to advocate for and talk about, because we all still go through struggles in life, and I've now got a toolkit to help me through those struggles. And it's not taboo, and I think it's so important, and I'm all about mental health now. Part of my whole the Beyond Blue fundraiser has to do with that. The next one, it kind of connected to that, is discovering Lani's art. She came into my life at the exact right time through her drawings, through Prismacolor pencils. And her drawings, I'd never seen art like this before, art that describes thoughts and feelings. And she introduced me to this art at the time that I went into depression and anxiety, and I had no words during that time, so I didn't write or journal through that time because I couldn't. But art became my outlet. Drawing through Prismacolor pencils gave me a whole way to document and express myself and communicate it. And that turned into a book called The Art of Mental Health, which is available in my Etsy shop as an ebook, with all my artwork through that time. And it documents what that time was like for me and how I got through it. And then the final one is Discovering Psychology in Seattle, this podcast that has just changed my life, and I'm a patron of theirs and I'm a YouTube member of theirs. And I love psychology, and I love that they share about psychology and teach me about it, and give real life examples from their own lives, so I can see how I fit into this equation and how psychology can help me in my daily life. And it's just taught me so much about who I am, and not who I am necessarily, but how I react and my defense mechanisms, and things that I still need to work on, where I need healing. And they've helped me to grow so much, and to reach out for support when I need to. And yeah, it's just been really, really amazing learning about psychology through them. And I've grown so much through them, and it's just been amazing. So Psychology in Seattle, I'll link them down below in the description box. Definitely go check them out. I can't speak highly enough of them. They are helping the world and changing the world for the better. And I continue to be changed by them and to learn and grow from them. So really, really cool. Okay, so we got through it. We got through life-changing events. Now I'm going on to my next page, which is the biggest challenges I've faced in my life, and I'm putting this together because they kind of overlap with the life-changing events, and that tells you something right there, that often it's through challenge and trial and struggle that we are changed. And I say, bring on the struggle, bring on the challenge, because I want to grow, I want to learn, and I want to be changed in this life. And so my biggest challenges, one, I wrote the same things like depression and anxiety, walking from Sydney to Melbourne, beach mission, ballet has been a challenge. So through the dance school, the first year I danced with them, they had a concert and I didn't do it because, that was too big for me. That was too scary. So I was like, no, I'll just go to classes, but I won't do the concert. And the whole time they're like, but we still have time. We can get you a costume. You can be in it. I'm like, no. I didn't even entertain it. I was like not tempted at all. But then the next year I was like, okay, I'll be in the dances, but no, I'm not going to audition, because they have musical concerts as well back then. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just be in the dances, cool, but I'm not going to act or sing or or audition. The next year after that, I auditioned, and that is huge. Past me would never audition, would never sing in front of people, would never act in front of people. Like, that's just out of this world, no way. But I auditioned and I got a part in Shrek the musical. I got the part of the dragon, and I also ended up getting the part of the storyteller, which I was understudy for. So I had lines and I had to sing one line by myself, and obviously singing in songs with other people. And I'm not the best singer, I'm definitely not the best actor, I'm not even the best dancer, but I love doing it and it was fun. And that was my challenge that year, to do the musical and learn all my lines and learn all the dances and all the parts and staging and all that. Huge challenge. Another challenge that I'll just mention, might not seem like a huge challenge for anyone else, but I had to swim a swim test back when I was at uni to go on a marine biology field trip to Heron Island, where we would do snorkeling trips and do a research project on Heron Island, which is in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. A huge trip. It was an amazing trip. Everyone wanted to do it. There was a wait list and everything. But to be able to go on this trip, you had to pass a swim test and swim 400 meters in 10 minutes, which was 16 laps of the 50-meter pool where we did our swim test. So the uni I went to had a sports centre and they had a pool. So again, I spent a year training, maybe not a year, but I spent a long time training, and I'll go over by myself and swim laps just over and over again. I would never do this in my normal life. It's the last thing I'd want to do. I'm not a physical person. I'm not into sport at all. And so but I was dedicated and I trained, and it was hard. I couldn't even do one lap of a pool to start off with. I was not fit. I didn't last. Freestyle, I suck at freestyle. And when finally we did our trial test, I was 11 minutes 10 seconds or something, 11 minutes 30 I think it was. I can't remember now. So I knew I had to work on my time or something, and had to keep on training and training and training. And I honestly did not know if I would make it. And that was the first time in my entire life I didn't know if I would actually pass a test. Up until that point, I'm kind of known in school and around the place. I'm kind of known as a high achiever and an all-rounder. I tend to be known for being good at whatever I try to do. And I can't take any credit for that. Some people just naturally born with being able to do whatever they do, and I was kind of one of those people, and known for that. So it was really weird for me to have this experience of, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to pass this test. And this also goes to show that I didn't try new things. If there was something that I didn't think I could do, I wouldn't even try it. So that's another part of that side of the story. But this was one where I was forced into doing something that I had no skill in, and I literally was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And I thought maybe I even can't. And that was a huge test for me. But I trained and I trained and I trained. And for the final test, I got 9 minutes 50. So I've just made the cutoff. And I mean, I was so exhausted at the end of that test. I couldn't even get myself out of the pool. I rolled out of the pool. I couldn't pull myself out. I had to literally roll myself out of the pool. I was that tired and exhausted. But I was amazed. I made it. I made the test and or passed the test. And what it taught me was, yeah, if you work hard, like, I know it's cliche, but if you really work hard and you can do things that you never thought you could do. Like, I had to train and train and train and put in so many laps and put in so much time for this and so much commitment and so much dedication into this training. But it paid off. That's what it taught me. It paid off. The training allowed me to do something that I did not think I could do. And, you know, if we can go into anything and do it with that commitment and do it with that work ethic, then who knows where it could lead us, you know? Yeah, give it a go. If there's something that you want to do, put in the effort. If you're committed, you know, who knows where it will lead you. And who knows what you will learn and who knows how you'll grow. So that was a huge thing for me. It's like so trivial and small now. Like, people who didn't pass the test could still go on the field trip. I didn't know that. Like, I thought, oh man, I really need to do this test. All that happened was that they just had the people swim closer to the boat. Like, seriously. But yeah, I was naive at the time. I was like, oh, they're not going to let me go if I can't swim this test. Of course they're going to let you go. They're going to find ways to allow you to go. Yeah, even if it wasn't that, you'd still be allowed to go on the trip. You just wouldn't be able to snorkel. It's like, of course you're going to be able to go. Anyway, but I took it so seriously, and I was like, I want to go on this trip and I need to pass this test. And yeah, and then I'm just writing this quote here, that the bigger the challenge, the greater the growth. Bring on the challenges because I want to grow. And I want to grow big. I want to grow a lot. So give me the bigger challenge, but give me breaks in between so I can rest and recuperate and find my strength. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what were some of your life-changing events and some of your biggest challenges and the ways that you've grown. And yeah, that was my 2 prompts for this journal. The next video you'll see about this journal will be a final flip through, and I'll share a couple more pages in particular that I forgot to share previously. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my guys. Beautiful patrons who supported me in December. If you would like to support me in the month of January, I would be so ever grateful. Becoming a patron gets you access to extra videos, including my monthly journal series where I make a journal from start to finish each month. The Ruby tier gets you access to every single digital kit from my Etsy, as well as a new kit each month. And there's different tiers. There's some mail tiers and a journal tier as well. So feel free to check those out. If you'd like to take any of my courses, those are down below in the description box as well. And all the links and places to find me are down there too.